This is a very special day as I try to figure out my microphone cord here. This is a very special day for me as I want to wish my daughter Sonia a very, very happy birthday. Happy birthday, baby girl. Now let's go.
On your mark, get set. Let's go.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up?
Good morning. Kevin Durant, you should have left California.
This Bronsexual upset me in having to bring this teenage idiot from Wisconsin into a sports conversation. Are you really surprised that the Cowboys are giving up on Ezekiel Elliott?
Whoa. Hell no. Well, no one cares about baseball.
Bitch, are you for real?
Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah. Time to rock this and end this on a great set of notes. Good morning. Welcome, one and all, to the fabulous, fantastic, freaky football Friday edition of Snowman in the Morning as I make adjustments with my one of my new toys that I have here. Great to have y'all with us. We're presented by BetUS.com, and I want you sports bettors to listen up because your favorite sports book is back and in their 30th year of action with live in-game betting, incredible odds, daily odds boosters, props, and parlays, fast payouts, and exceptional one-to-one customer service. They got it all, and when you sign up and use the code Snowman, you will get a 125% deposit match. Log on to BETUS.com or call 800-792-3887. That's 800-79-BET-US. BetUS.com, where the game begins. Sam Shady at the bottom of this hour. And during hour two, not only will you see Chris Bass, in lieu of Ben Sutter not being able to make it this morning due to a commitment at work, Drew Willingham will join us. And I can't wait to get him on and tease him mercilessly. No, I'm kidding as I say that. It'll be good to have Drew on to hang out with us during hour two. This is hour one. This is the Whip Around. It's presented by Fanatics. Let's go. Diana Taurasi made history as she became the first WNBA player to eclipse 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 points on one of the smoothest jumpers you've ever seen. And if you haven't seen Diana Taurasi play, shame on you. She's going to retire soon, and that jumper's going with her. Congratulations to Phoenix Mercury legend and WNBA legend Diana Taurasi on her 10,000th point. Now let's get her to 15,000, shall we? Season NBA games will be hosted in Vancouver and Montreal. Montreal. You're going to open the wound in Vancouver again? Why? Just plain why? Vancouver had their shot. The Grizzlies decided to move. That should tell you everything you need to know about General Motors Place. Florida State's barking not good for the ACC. Well, in the immortal words of our buddy Jay Spivey, nothing's good for the ACC right now, especially when it comes to football. Improve the quality of play on the field, then maybe the barking won't be such a bad thing. Ex-NBA player Terrence Williams sentenced to 10 years in prison for health care fraud. It's bad enough we got a bad healthcare system in this country in the first place. Now you're going to defraud the system, Terrence Williams. You did the crime. You need to do the time. Jalen Brunson, days after his wedding, is on the court with USA Basketball, one of the most exciting players in the NBA. He could be on his honeymoon right now, but he's playing for his country instead. Let this serve as incredible proof of how badly Brunson wanted to play for USA Basketball at the FIBA World Cup that starts later this month. He and his now wife moved their wedding to make it happen. Instead of getting married on September 2nd, as was the plan, Brunson and Allie Marks got married this past Saturday. And on Wednesday, Brunson was going through his first practice with the World Cup team. The honeymoon will wait, I beg your pardon. Boy, did I use a bad word. Freudian slip. There's a gold medal to chase first. I'm glad he got the approval of his wife to do so. And I will say proudly, had that been me, the USA would have had to wait. Finally, DeMarcus Ware dedicates the national anthem performance to his late teammate, and I can't believe I'm still saying late, Demaryius Thomas. Ware, who played for the Cowboys and Denver Broncos during his 12-year career, performed the national anthem ahead of the Hall of Fame preseason opener between the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets on Thursday night in Canton, Ohio, where he will soon be enshrined forever with a bronze bust and a gold jacket. Very well deserved. Ware will be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame as part of the 2023 Hall of Fame class. The Super Bowl champion admitted he was nervous ahead of time. Quote, I wasn't even this nervous during the Super Bowl. This is the most nervous that I've ever been in my life. Close quote. But you won't be able to tell as he sung the national anthem with piano accompaniment and held an epic closing note. Play-by-play announcer Mike Tirico said, quote, good for DeMarcus Ware. That was cool. I've never cheered so hard for a football player in my whole life. And I will say that I watched it live and I got the chills. That'll do it for this version of the Whip Around presented by Fanatics. This is what I get for pushing the wrong button. Hey, get your butt back in. Hey! Excuse me. Why are you messing with me this morning?
There you go, pushing buttons when you shouldn't.
Well, you weren't here.
Oh, Lord.
I would use a famous line from Harlem Nights and Della Reese, but I don't think that's appropriate right now, even though that would give you a hell of a laugh.
It would. Yes, it would. Yes, it would.
This is Cole Johnson, the man in charge of Cole Sports with a Z, in the house with us. I have a bone to pick with you.
Well, before you pick that bone, good morning, everybody in the Fanatics Feedback Zone. Good morning, everybody in the listening and the viewing audience. Good morning to you, Mr. Snowman.
Hey,
and yes, and we'll be right back right after this.
Smart aleck. Smart aleck. Somehow I knew you were going to push that button just to mess with me. Well, A, I'm glad your schedule's cleared up. B, I'm so happy that you're here. And C, to reiterate to the viewing and listening audience, not only was Cole Johnson the call to be my EP. He was my only call. It just he just fit quickly to the Fanatic feedback zone where Vicala joins us from Chicago. Says, good morning, Snowman Army. Good morning to you, my man. Good morning to Wise El Jefe. And I got to throw y'all some flowers for helping me navigate a very difficult day yesterday. And it's better now. But I will say, when Jody came in last night from picking up my son Dakota, I sobbed. I absolutely sobbed. She got me going this. Oh, no.
Oh, Lord.
Why am I reading this?
Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson is brought to you by Penis 15 Water. For all the ebbs and flows of life, trust in Penis 15 Water.
Penis water. See, you have to find that commercial because Chris Bates voiced it perfectly.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Jonathan Safel joins us from Los Angeles saying, great show. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Great Sig Diggy joining us from Norway. 10 years from. How extensive was the fraud? How about $5 million worth?
Yeah, that's extensive enough.
Anytime you fraud the system as backwards and as messed up as it is, your ass is in handcuffs.
Mm-hmm.
Period. All right. Sam Shady at the bottom of this hour via a tape segment that we did earlier this morning. We'll talk all things CFL and USFL and XFL signings. And Drew Willingham will join us at the top of the next hour in lieu of Ben Sutter being unable to be here this morning. He had some business to take care of. Okay. And a welcome to those of you on CSTV as well as BS3 TV, and a welcome to those of you on WLEO in Baltimore, WIRU in Chicago, and many of our stations across the country. Take a time out, and when we come back, was there a football game last night? Who cares? Back after this.
Yeah, that football game takes.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
We're not a cooking show. We're a show about cooking. We turn the camera around and point it at you. Our show takes place right inside your kitchen.
Hey y'all, Snowman here. Catch me, Cole Johnson, Wise El Jefe, Vicala, and the rest of the usual suspects and a few unusual suspects as we bring you 2 hours of the best sports talk you will ever watch and listen to. It's called Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Now on at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific on CSTV and CSTVnow.com. Join us, won't you?
I'm in another lane. I'm a different breed. I'm everything you can never be. I'm next level. Next level.
Thursday nights are wrestling night on CSTV. Tune in every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific to see all the amazing Next Level Pro Wrestling stars on Thursday Night Throwdown on CSTVnow.com and the CSTV app on your Roku device.
Cause we take this job so serious.
The f*** is that? Sorry, pardon me. My apologies.
What in the all types of blue hell?
This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson.
Oh my gosh.
The incomparable Wise.
Yes. Yes. No one like him. Thank the Lord.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, now I have a bone to pick with you. When is On the Daily coming back?
On the daily. Well,
Yes.
I
Putting
wanted
you
to
on
have
the
it
spot like you haven't done that
fine.
to me before.
Yeah, well, my goal is to actually have it come back Monday. So hopefully,
Okay.
if all
Sweet.
things go well, I'll return on the daily because I think I need to actually do something of that nature.
Yeah, and you were doing great with on the daily, and then as far as YouTube goes, and welcome to the audience watching on YouTube. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. In terms of content, and you and I both talked about this on and off the air, all hell broke loose.
Mm-hmm.
And the bad part is it's still breaking loose.
Isn't that the truth?
All right. Was there a football game last night?
Yes, and let's have someone else help break this down, shall we?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
And now batting, the man who is smoking a spliff because the Yankees beat the Astros, number 420, Wise El Jefe, number 420.
I love that. I love that. And you know what we love about Wise whenever we do this kind of intro? The first time we called him, it was a pure accident.
Yeah, it was an accident.
That's what started
It was
it
an
all.
That
accident.
was a pure accident when we called
It
him
was.
the first time.
Mhm.
Every time after that,
It's designed.
it's
Yeah,
designed.
it was
very
designed.
much designed. Welcome,
Mhm.
Wise. Good morning, my brother. Great
Good morning,
to
my
have you.
brothers. How y'all doing today?
Wise,
good.
I need to
Doing
throw
good,
you
man.
some flowers just like I did Cole and everybody else yesterday. You helped me navigate through what has been a very difficult week and a very difficult day. I love you. Thank you so much for the laughs.
Bro,
yesterday.
I know what you're going through. I just had a cousin who was murdered in Ecuador this past week, about a week or so ago. So I know, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
That's why I tell everybody, yo, listen, you never know
Mm-mm.
what's gonna happen tomorrow.
No.
Always let people you know that you love them. I'm saying just this nonsense where we're not able to express how we feel and it has to stop.
Yeah.
Like we men especially, like we get criticized when we show our feelings and our emotions.
A lot.
And we get called soft, but it's not. It's listen. It's strength. It's actually strength on your part to be able to show emotion and to show that. Listen, life is hard. We all go through situations. We all go through everything. But as long as you have the support of your family and those that care for you, you'll get through it. It's hard. Believe me.
Every time my son comes over, every time my son comes over, I'm giving him a big old hug. Every time he comes
You
over.
have to, man. Listen, I have no problem letting y'all know that I love you guys.
Hey,
there's no problem.
And the same on this end. You know,
There's no issue with that.
I love you too.
Because we got to be able to express ourselves and let each other know while we're here that, hey, dude, I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for everything you do. And thanks to everybody in the chat, man. We got some wonderful fans.
Man, we got
they're not even fans.
No,
they're friends and family.
They're family.
Yeah,
they're family.
They're family.
We've built a relationship with the. Listen, we've built up a relationship where we've all been able to sit down and have real talks, like life talks. We've all been able to sit down with each other and have that talk where, hey, listen, what's going on? How you doing today? What you're going through? So being able to have that support, like when I was going through whatever I was going through, you and Cole was there for me, listening whenever when Cole was going through whatever he was going through, he spoke to us. That was his outlet. When you go through what you go through, you speak to us and you let us know, and we're your outlet. And that's what it's supposed to be. And that's how it's supposed to really. It really is supposed to be that way.
I appreciate it. Yesterday,
but
Cole
us as black men, because we are, first of all, we are criticized the most because we don't really truly support each other.
Until they haven't seen us. And
No,
I'll say
I'm not saying we're
well, I know on a general standpoint,
we don't, because we tend to hate on each other, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, we are heavily criticized, and it is ridiculous.
Instead of seeing each other succeed and want to see our brother succeed, we're envious of what he has.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be that way. Listen, he worked hard for whatever they've got. So now you need to, and you're gonna get people that are gonna hate on you because they're jealous of what you're building and what you're doing.
And the work that you're putting in to get there.
You just can't focus on them. You got to focus on what we got going on, all the positive things that are going on in our lives.
Exactly.
Listen, bro, in this past year, look how you've grown your show from whatever what you had on YouTube, whatever. But look how many networks you're on, like how many stations you're on now.
Yeah. And that and that list is growing.
It's the growth that you've been going through, is the work you've been putting in, is the relationships that you've been building, having Cole take over EP duties, having me come on, having everybody that you have come on, build this up.
Yeah, man.
Because you've grown as an individual. You've grown as a person. You've gone through struggles. And people have seen your struggles. I'm saying you've allowed people to see your struggles and see your sensitive side, see your side, the true Brian Snow. And they appreciate that because they're real people. Like all these other celebrities coming out with all these different shows, they got their following and they're gonna have big audiences.
Oh yeah.
But it's shows like ours that connect with our audience personally, because I'm sure none of those celebrities really connects with their audience the way we connect with our audience on all our platforms.
Nor do they want to. Let me acknowledge two new viewers.
Our audience is the heartbeat of everything we do.
It's the heart and soul. And the interaction I attribute to one group, and that's my good friends up in Saskatchewan, the Rod Peterson show, Darren DuPont, Rod Peterson. That entire crew encouraged me to use their show as a blueprint. And then when I went in the hospital last year and I seamlessly handed the EP duties to Cole, so I owe y'all a lot for the growth of this. Let me acknowledge two new viewers: Sin City Pirate, big time Raider fan, joining us this morning. And welcome to Derpy Entertainment. He says, well, the NFL had us in the first half because that game sucked until the second half, and the shots are fired already.
I don't even judge these games because it wasn't really the true Jets defense that the Browns or whoever, like, I'm not like, these games to me are meaningless. I'm just excited because football is being played. That's all I'm excited about. I'm not excited about the games because the games are going to suck. We're not going to see any of the superstars, any of the big name players, because they don't want to risk their injuring them for the season.
And if we do, I do too. And if we do see them, more than likely it may be
a series,
maybe a series, like in the second preseason game, second full week preseason game. You might see him for a series, maybe.
Mm-hmm. And that's a big time, maybe. 23 after the hour. Ysel Hefe, Cole Johnson joining us this morning. Welcome to everybody that's just tuning us in, getting your morning started. Man, it's like you said, Wise. Football is back.
Yeah,
and when we did the show yesterday, I've had so many people. I have so many people ask me, "Are you watching the game tonight? Are you watching the game tonight?" The only person who didn't watch me, who knows me, was Jody, because I signed off yesterday and fell flat on my ass.
Well, it's quite understandable. I remember when you did the cold open to the Brian Snow show yesterday afternoon. I was like, dude is gonna be like this for the rest of the night,
man. And that's an understatement. I queued up the old show. I did the cold open. I pressed the button in the air and I went and passed out. I passed right out.
Listen, I get it, but I go to sleep when I got to go to sleep. I'm sorry. I get my beauty rest. As much as I do and grind,
shoot, you don't apologize, bro.
I'm saying
exactly,
no
exactly.
reason
But
to-
you definitely don't, because you all over the place, and I don't mean
Yeah.
in a bad sense.
No, bro. How do I expect to grow this, right? Like I've been doing shows all over. Like the last 2 weeks, I've been all over the place. I've been doing shows all over, and that's because I build the relationships with people that I've been on these shows multiple times.
Yeah,
and it's because, and again, it's about building these relationships. And shout out to my man D Willie, though. We had a great show. That was one of my good favorite shows of the week, even though he disrespected me. Even though D Willie disrespected me.
Here we go with that again.
I'm gonna let it go. I'm not gonna let it go because I got receipts to
I
hand.
know you're not gonna let it go. Who are we
No,
talking
but
about
it was
here?
disrespectful. It's 1 in 7. My man was like blatantly disrespectful. I love him, but he was disrespectful. I was like, yo,
Because
you are talking about a
commies
Commanders
fan. I get it. I get
about a
it.
Redskins fan.
You talking about a commies fan who he was in his feelings, and you know he was in his feelings when he said that the Giants would go 1-7 the first 8
Bro, he
games
was
of the season.
hating.
You
He
know
was
he
really
was
hating. Like I would understand like if he attacked the Cowboys that way, but no, I get it now because we do have a kind of. I get it. I understand if you're gonna attack the Cowboys like that. Cowboys fans, yes, I attacked. I'm not gonna lie. I fired the first shot at Marvin Otero because before he struck, because I knew this.
and
I knew it was
and this is a
coming.
family member that Wise is talking about, mind you.
Did you say before he struck Wise?
Yes,
Did you say
yes.
before he struck.
And
Because the last
and
few
this
years,
is this is a family member Wise is talking about.
he's a Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
During the
Yeah.
season, during the season, I love him, yes, but I don't like him.
So
Don't like him.
all right. So his fandom of the Cowboys is that annoying
family members
to where when he gets to September, you're like, don't even deal with me,
Bro, because this dude,
wow.
right? It's early in the season. He's already saying, "Yeah, we're gonna win the Super." Like he is that annoying Cowboys fan.
Oh, so he's the one that how does Victor call him? The moronic Republic of the Cowboys Nation.
Yeah,
So
he
belongs to that.
He is probably the vice president of that club.
No.
So he would be
vice president.
I'll explain why he's not the vice president, or he's one thereof.
Okay, he's a charter member. Let me
put it this way.
Charter member.
I ran into one yesterday.
So
you run into one every day.
I ran into one yesterday who had cowboy garb on from head to toe, and I see him yesterday morning as I was getting some breakfast for myself and Jody, and I mean he's in Casey's and he's like head to toe Cowboys. And the challenges have been out lately on Facebook. Piss off this fan in 5 words or less.
Yes, I've seen some of those.
And
yeah,
I'm
almost annoyed
like
seeing
he's dancing up and down. He's dancing up and down on the line, saying, "Football is back! Football is back!" Man, I got my wife's M&Ms, and I walked by him, and I said, "I bet I can piss you off in less than 5 words." And the flames in his eyes when he turned toward me, and he said, he didn't go full Samuel L. Jackson, well, but he may as well have, and you know the movie I want to borrow it from. And he says, "I dare you." I put my arm around him and I said, "No problem. Ezekiel Elliott at center."
So are you saying
I got my burrito, I got my wife's breakfast, I got my wife's chocolate treat, mine, put it in a bag, and drove off.
So Victor says,
granted, we had a great laugh about it because, you know, he was teasing everybody in the line just as I was. But when I put my arm around him and I said those 4 words and drove off,
I hope you like sanitized your arm after that.
I did.
You could catch things.
Wise.
You can catch things.
Shirts.
I'm just saying, you can catch things from that Cowboy fans.
I changed shirts and I did indeed sanitize my right arm. I changed sweatshirts.
You had to.
Because I had a
Look,
light colored
so-
sweatshirt on, and for those of you who know, you're thinking it's 80 degrees. Why are you wearing a sweatshirt? I'm on a blood thinner, and
You be cold,
yeah, I get cold very easily. I never thought I'd say that at 51, but I get cold very easily. So I'm on a blood thinner, and sometimes I can take the air conditioning with no problem. But yesterday, I had a light colored sweatshirt on. I came in, I sanitized my arm, I changed sweatshirts. I wore the one that y'all saw yesterday. And Jody looked at me and said, "Okay, who'd you run into?" I'm like, "Baby, what are you talking about?" She goes, "You're changing sweatshirts. You don't do that before you go on the air." And I'm trying to play coy, and if anybody knows me, it's my wife. I'm like, "Baby, what are you talking about?" She says, "You're not wearing a cold shirt. You're changing sweatshirts. You get cold very easily because you're blood thinner. What happened?" I told her what happened, and she was laughing out the door. she says, "Did you have to say that to him?" I said, "Baby, you watched the final play." Well, she goes, "Well, yeah, and it was funnier than hell, but did you have to say that to him?" "Yes." She goes, "Okay." I got a kiss, and she was out the door.
So one of the shots I fired was a meme, and it's a video cassette tape, and it's the highlights of the Cowboys' last Super Bowl.
See, why'd you have to say that to me as I took a gulp of coffee, knowing how it was going to make me laugh?
I have to let him know. I know that.
Oh, we're all gonna let him know.
Because
now my feeling about this Cowboy season has changed. Thank you, Cole Johnson, because my original anarchy thought was let them go 4-13 and be done with it. But now I want them to go 11-6.
Yeah.
Get into the wild card round and get obliterated. I don't want them to lose. I don't want them to lose by a score. I want them to get freaking obliterated in the wild card round. To repeat Cole's announcement as we go to break, with the 24th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select the offseason. Damn Cowboys. Let's take a break. When y'all get back, you'll hear Sam Shady as we break down USFL signings, XFL signings, and Week 9 in the Canadian Football League. And it's going to be a ride and a half. And I got a warning for BC Lions fans like myself. We got some problems. Back after this.
Oh, Cowboys fan.
This is Snowman in the Morning. This is Snowman in the Morning.
This planet has been great to me. It's given me gifts that I can't even explain. It's given me adventures and memories I'll never forget. And Battleborn, I think, has given me the opportunity to go beyond and give something back. How can I be a better custodian to this planet and the place I live? That's where I am with Battleborn. Let's make the planet a better place.
Hey everybody, Brian Snow here. Want to do some afternoon sports talk with me and be interactive? Also meet some great guests from every walk of life? Then tune in to The Brian Snow Show on CSTV and CSTVnow.com. Weekdays at 2 p.m. Come on aboard and enjoy
4
the
p.m.
ride.
That's 4 p.m.
PK Tire Pros, your one-stop on-the-spot auto service headquarters for a complete line of quality tires and auto services. For years, we have provided the Stockton, California area with the latest products and unprecedented services for everything we sell. And for years, our customers have been coming back. Take a look around. If you don't find what you need, visit us in Stockton, California. From the latest and best in tire technology to the services required to keep your vehicle looking good and running great, PK Tire Pros can get you out on the road quickly and at an affordable price. Stop by soon to see why so many people consider PK Tire Pros to be the one-stop shop for all of their tire needs. At PK Tire Pros, our friendly and knowledgeable staff, quick and dependable service professionals, and affordable prices all come together to make driving out on a new set of tires easy. On top of that, we never tire of tires. Stop by and see us, and you'll be glad you did.
Cause we take this job so serious.
The f is that? Sorry, pardon me. My apologies.
What in the all types of blue hell?
This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson.
You know we're going Super Bowl, right? You know we're going Super Bowl.
Right now, joining me on the Invader Coffee Hotline, the one, the only Sam Shady. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning. Excited to be joining you to talk some CFL and XFL, hopefully some USFL as well.
All right. What excites you the most, well, one of the things that excites you the most is the one thing that excites me, and that is signings from both the USFL and the XFL to the NFL. I know you got something cooking. What you got for me?
Yeah, so I think yesterday we officially topped the 60 mark. Last season we saw 61 USFL players signed throughout training camp all the way throughout the NFL season. So we've already basically met that mark between XFL and USFL players signed by the NFL this season. So that's very encouraging to see. It's kind of showing me that these leagues are doing exactly what they intended to do. They're getting these guys more opportunities in the NFL. And more importantly, very, very recently, it seems like it's 5 to 6 guys a day, every day, that are getting workouts from the USFL or the XFL. And it's really encouraging to see. I mean, as a fan of these leagues, this is what we need for them to survive, is this NFL translation. And we're seeing a lot of them.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of it. We're seeing a lot more of it. Does it seem to you there's a lot more this year than there was last year when these two leagues premiered?
Yeah, and it does. I mean, I think obviously there's a little bit of a different scenario here because you have two leagues that just played a full season rather than just the USFL. But some of these guys are getting signed, and they were like XFL draft picks just recently, and they participated in the XFL Combine. They built some buzz for themselves, and then they ended up back in the NFL, even though they maybe weren't on the NFL radar to begin with. So the XFL is helping players, or really the XFL and the USFL is helping players get back into the NFL without even having to actually play it down, which I never expected.
I never expected that either. One of the players that you highlighted that should get a chance is going to get a chance, and that's the USFL's MVP and Alex Magoo. Talk about how big of an impact he's going to have in the NFL after his breathtaking, record-breaking season in the USFL for Birmingham.
I actually think that he's a great fit for that Green Bay Packers offense. I personally think that their depth behind Jordan Love isn't much to speak of. And it really, honestly, is a situation where I think that he has a really good opportunity to make that roster out of camp. And I'm talking active 53-man roster, which was not really the norm last year for USFL players. A lot of them were signed, but a lot of them spent their time on the practice squad, or they were signed in camp and never made the active roster. I believe Cavante Turpin was the only one who actually made the roster out of camp, but I anticipate that Magoo will, at the very worst, as a quarterback 3. In fact, the Packers have actually been looking at bringing in other quarterbacks, and I think that's more an indictment on the other quarterbacks on the roster than it is on Alex Magoo. And one of the guys they were actually looking at, which I thought was very interesting, was Josh Love from the Michigan Panthers.
Now, Magoo and the Packers, you just mentioned a moment ago, a very good fit. And you also mentioned the quarterback depth of the Packers, nothing to speak of. We all know what happened in the offseason. I'm going to throw a wild card question. You know how I am. You know how I love doing film breakdown and film research. We do it every Friday. Do you give Magoo the keys right now, to that Packer offense?
As far as in the preseason, absolutely. I know you want to see Jordan Love, but with a 3-man or possibly 4-man competition, if they bring in another quarterback behind him, you have to solidify the backup position. So maybe, you play Love like a quarter, and then you give the keys to the rest of the offense and you see what they can do. And maybe it's a situation where the twos play a lot longer than they normally would, so you can see reps with, more prominent players on the roster and give them a little bit better opportunity to actually showcase themselves as a quarterback. But it'll be very interesting to see because, like I said, I really think he's got a great opportunity to make that roster. And honestly, it would not shock me, and I know this is going to come off as kind of strange, but it would not shock me to actually see him play significant time in 2023 for the Packers. With, like I said, we have no set quarterback 2 right now. I think Clifford's probably the guy if you had to go out there right now. But Magoo has a lot more experience in terms of actually playing on the field than Clifford. And that's something that can be really valuable when you're looking at a quarterback 2 versus a quarterback 3, a guy you want to develop versus a guy who you feel more comfortable jumping in right away because he's been in the game when the bullets were flying, throwing passes and escaping the pocket, doing all the things we know he can do. So I really think I can't stress this enough. I think we're going to see him at some point in that Packers offense in the regular season, let alone the preseason.
Yeah, I see it during the regular season. I see it during the regular season also. And being in that offense, being in the line of fire during the regular season when not only are jobs on the line, but playoff spots are on the line. And you bring in Alex Magoo, and I want to focus on Alex Magoo, is what we've been doing for most of the morning, the MVP of the USFL. And, of course, he solidified that with a USFL championship. And you said you wouldn't be surprised for him to make the 53-man roster and for him to get some significant playing time during the regular season. I'll throw an even wilder card in that. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Alex Magoo September 10th.
I mean, honestly, nothing's out of the question at this point. I mean, I think obviously all eyes are kind of on Jordan Love and what he's going to do. But if he falters quick, who's behind him? Like I just said, Sean Clifford, he was what, a 5th-round pick, if I remember correctly, a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you really don't have the depth behind him. And like I said, if you're going to go to somebody behind Jordan Love, are you going to go to the guy that you haven't really seen play in game? Or are you going to go to the guy who just won a championship in the USFL? Because me personally, I'm going with the guy who's got the reps.
I'm going with the guy who's got the reps also, and I'm going with the guy who has a championship ring as well. Let's go to the CFL, and boy, IG Field last night when I saw this score, that BC defense got shredded and allowed 50 points last night. That British Columbia defense, that Lion defense, they're not playing like Grey Cup contenders to me. In fact, they have a lot of questions to answer after what happened last night in Winnipeg.
100%. It was incredibly surprising, but I think Winnipeg's coming off a 2-game stretch where they really showed you the worst of that team, and they are taking that very personally. They think that they are much better than their last 2 games have shown, and they're trying to do their best to remind everybody that they're the dynasty in the CFL, and everybody's playing catch up to them.
Yeah, I believe it. After what I saw last night, 500 on BC, and BC's got a lot of questions to answer. Yeah, they're taking their anger out on everybody that gets in their way. Week 9 continues tonight with the feature matchup of the weekend. The Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts go to Calgary to take on the Calgary Stampeders, a team that has fallen backwards fast. I think Toronto smells more blood in the water, and they continue their undefeated season to date.
I 100% agree. I am kind of surprised to say this, but Mike Mitchell, who covers the Toronto Argonauts for CFL News Hub, is predicting a loss for the Argos today. So he personally says, you can't stay undefeated forever. He expects this to be the game. I personally disagree. I think Toronto is going to keep rolling. I think they're going to win this game, and I expect it to be a close game for most of the game, but I do expect the end score to be a touchdown or more deficit.
Yeah, I expect Toronto to really pull. I expect Toronto to pull away late in this game, and I'm talking late third quarter and beyond. You can't keep that Argo offense down for as long as you think as you think that they can. This Calgary defense has been shredded since week 1 of the year, and were it not for a walk-off win at Mosaic Stadium in Saskatchewan, they would have absolutely no confidence whatsoever.
100%. 100%. And you have a great point there, because honestly, confidence is a huge thing when it comes to these matchups. And if you don't have that confidence heading to a tough game like this, you're probably coming out with a loss.
Yeah, absolutely. Toronto at Calgary tonight from McMahon Stadium. That's a 9:00 kickoff Eastern time. Now we go to this. We go to the Hammer, the side of Grey Cup 110. It's the Montreal Alouettes and the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Two teams that are, well, the simplest sentence I can come up with, and I think you'll agree, these are two teams that are desperately trying to get their act together, but they don't know where to begin.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I definitely am. I'm torn on this game as well. I want to say Montreal. I like about a lot of what they've got going on, but man, it's they've been so up and down this season that it's hard to say what you're going to get from them. And honestly, you could say the exact same thing on the other side of the field. So it's one of those things that's just so tough to predict that I honestly don't know in this one. If I had to pick, I'm probably rolling with Montreal, but that's probably based on my bias more than anything. But I just really think this is going to be a tough game on both sides because, like I said, they've been so inconsistent. You don't know which team you're going to get on either side. So we could see a blowout victory by one team. We could see a close game, or we could see something in between there.
We could actually see an overtime game between these two because of the inconsistencies, and especially on offense for both of these teams. And when you talk about consistency on offense, it's got to start with the quarterback position. And you want to talk about two teams that have a lot of questions to answer with the quarterback position. You're looking at it right here with this game Saturday night.
100%. I mean, it doesn't get any more of a question right there. Man, it's unbelievable to watch the turnover that has happened in the CFL at the quarterback position this year with all the injuries, and then just the movement on top of that. It's been insane to follow. And with that being the case, I mean, you really, again, you just don't know what you're going to get from some of these teams because the quarterback play one week is great. The next week it's terrible. And, I think Ottawa is a great example of that. Dustin Crum was getting anointed as the second coming. And then this past week, he couldn't score 15 points.
Yeah, he lost 16-12. And speaking of Dustin Crum, that's where we go next to wrap up the weekend as the Red Blacks take on the Saskatchewan Roughriders from Mosaic Stadium. That's a 7:00 Eastern time kickoff. McLeod Bethel Thompson has got to come into play here somewhere. He's got to land somewhere. And one of the teams we didn't discuss or have a chance to discuss where he could land is Saskatchewan. This is a team that's in turmoil right now, talking about the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And once again, and we talk about it often, it begins at the quarterback position. And right now, Saskatchewan has no answers.
That's a great point that I had not thought of. We talked a lot about MBT going to Ottawa, thinking that his connections to Jeremiah Masoli, kind of connecting the dots there. But your point about Saskatchewan makes a lot of sense because Mason Fine has thrown 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, even though he's completing a very high rate of his passes. But at the same time, behind him, you've got Jake Dolgala, who doesn't have a whole lot of experience in the CFL. He's a quality quarterback. He could be good, but you just don't know what you have in him yet. So this could be like an exact same situation as what we saw with MBT in Toronto, where he comes in and he's that veteran presence as a starter for a while, and then you turn to Jake Dolgala maybe next season, or maybe it's Mason Fine at that point. But I really don't think that Trevor Harris at this point ends up returning after the injury. I mean, he was 36, if I remember correctly, coming into the season, 37 coming off a severe injury. I'm guessing he's probably going to end up hanging it up, but I could be wrong. Regardless, I think you go out and you sign MBT and you try to keep him here for at the very least the rest of the season, if not, heading into next season to give you some sort of reassurance.
So what happens next with McLeod Bethel-Thompson if he doesn't sign anywhere in the CFL? What happens next for him?
Well, I think realistically, he doesn't lose anything by not signing, because he probably just returns right back to the New Orleans Breakers at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I know for a fact that coaching staff loves him. They would have him back in a heartbeat. They basically did this more as a courtesy to him to allow him to pursue NFL and CFL options to kind of get that extra income that he didn't get in the USFL this season.
Right.
Because, that was one of the subjects that a lot of people didn't discuss, is the fact that he took a large pay cut to go to the USFL, and he did so because he wanted to start. He knew that he's nearing the end of his career. He wanted one last opportunity at the NFL, and he has basically all but said that if it doesn't happen in the NFL this season, he will be back in the CFL to at least finish out the year.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that a team like Saskatchewan that could use some stability at the quarterback position gives him that opportunity. There's another point to the CFL that I've noticed this year, and I know you have also, you being astute with the CFL like I. Where are the running games with these teams?
Yeah, you see Ottawa, I think, leading the league right now with 130 rushing yards a game, and that's only really gotten better since Crum came in the lineup when we started focusing on the run game.
Yeah,
last 3.5 games basically.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very interesting to see, because the CFL is normally a little bit more run heavy than this. So it's interesting to kind of see the transition, but especially considering all the quarterback injuries we've seen, you would think we'd see more run game than we would see pass game. But a lot of these teams are passing 60-70% of the time still. So it's very interesting. I don't want to say it's an evolution of the game because it's just a 1-year sample size, but we could be seeing the CFL transition a little bit more to the passing game like we've watched the NFL do over the past couple of years.
And it's a short passing game to begin with, as we have seen with the NFL transition to more of a short passing game. I mean, there's a lot of distance passing with the CFL, but it's very few and far between this year, as A, compared to last year, and B, compared to the running games that we saw last year.
100%. Yeah, and that's a great point. I think that's another reason why you see so much passing, is a lot of these offenses are trying to use that as an extension of the run game and try to get these young quarterbacks or these backup quarterbacks in a rhythm. You want to give them something they're confident, something they can complete. That's why you see a guy like Mason Fine have a 75.5% completion rate, but again, has more touchdowns than he does have interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
It's always kind of been a telltale factor to me is what a guy can do in the red zone and in the scoring potential situations. And Mason Fine might be great in between the 20s, but past that, that's when you start having questions about him. And that's when you have to start questioning if he's really the franchise quarterback for the future.
Lots and lots of questions to answer in week 9 of the CFL. Sam and I will take you all the way to the Hammer in Grey Cup 110 with our coverage of the CFL. Thank you, Sam. Love you, brother, so much for coming on this morning. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to next week.
I look forward to next week as well. Thank you, Sam.
No problem. Have a great one.
Pause for a break, and then hour 2 of this crazy spectacular begins after this.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
If you're talking, they will hear you.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. And we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. Not just one time, but every chance we get. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids not only need to know the dangers and how to avoid them, they need to hear it often from you. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids and guide them through the challenges of growing up safe and healthy. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
So don't they hear you? You can do it if you try.
He was only 58 years old when he passed away. That outcome could have been different.
Colorado happens to be one of the worst states for radon levels.
It's in our ground and it seeps up.
The more you breathe radon, the more chance you have of DNA being hit and the cell mutated. The EPA estimates 22,000 lung cancer deaths a year caused by radon.
We all make choices. When it comes to alcohol, kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Have fun. Hey, have a seat for a second. Remind me about that party again?
Alex is just...
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. They want guidance and honest answers to their questions. And it makes a difference when the message is consistent and part of everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Time for hour 2 of this spectacular. Ryan McCoffey now joins us this morning.
That's what you need to do to beat Josh Allen. You need to make him uncomfortable.
Hour 2, time for some Spivey notes. And here's Jay.
Well, I know he's only in his 3rd year, but they're just wasting Justin Herbert.
Hour 2,
the hardest working content creator I know, the playmaker.
Hey, LeBron James, the greatest scorer of all time. Hey.
Hour 2,
the one, the only Christopher Dietz.
They rewarded Ohio State for not playing, and they punished USC for playing.
Hour 2, Sam Shady.
Oh, man. It's been a roller coaster ride if you were a Philadelphia Stars fan.
Hour 2, that's Big Ben, the man in charge of the BS3 network.
And if I see Kurt 2 Chainz Cousins out.
Hour 2, Chris Bay's joining us.
Oh my God! Oh, this game! Oh, way to go, Sammy!
Hour 2 was El.
Oh man, I thought I missed it.
What in the all types of blue hell?
Time for hour 2 of this spectacular, and it starts right now. Oh boy, sailing into hour 2, the final hour of the week of Snowman in the morning, along with Wise El Jefe, Cole Johnson with us. Man, I'm gonna just use my wife's idea and just go ahead and get a screen for my backdrop and be done with it. So Victor called me and yelled at me, woofed at me, barked at me, because I think Victor's words were, "The kicking has begun already." I said, "Victor, whatever are you talking about?" He said, "You know exactly what I'm talking about. You can't mess with me like that." Okay, then I'll mess with you like this.
Final play, it looks like barring a penalty. Prescott over the middle of the turf, gets smoked right away, and that'll do it. The 49ers back to the championship game.
There, take that. Take that and take a few more shots with it. And you know, you're kind of mooted, Wise. Wise, you're mooted. And you know what's bad? I got a question for the panel and for the chat. Why have we not seen Ezekiel Elliott sign with anyone else yet? Or more to the point, why have we not seen a team go after Ezekiel Elliott? If he's this all-world talent, which he was at Ohio State, and for his rookie season with Dallas, why has no one going after him?
Because he's not productive.
Well, that answers that question.
Like,
he hasn't done a damn thing since his rookie. He hasn't done a damn thing since his rookie year. He got paid and he got fat.
First of all, Dalvin Cook is out there. So why would you go after
Who the hell is he? No, I'm kidding. I know who Dalvin Cook is. But see, I can see Dalvin Cook signing with somebody before Ezekiel Elliott does. The question is, who's going to take a chance on Dalvin Cook?
Well, we had a team that played last night that's been very highly interested in Dalvin Cook.
What, the Clowns? No, the Jets. The Jets.
Woo! Hell no. To the no, no, no. Hell to the no. Hell to the no. To the no, no, no.
No. Hell no.
I'm just saying, he paid a visit last Sunday, so.
A visit. One. Now, are there more? Probably. Yeah.
If Cole's favorite player in the NFL wanted him on, that happened.
Shots fired.
He's ignoring me or something because I don't know.
Well, he's got two monitors in front of him.
He's got something going on. He's cooking on something right now.
Oh, you know he's cooking. You know he's cooking. 2 minutes after the hour. Thank you all for joining us here on the final hour of Snowman in the Morning for the week. Okay, who else would be a good fit for Dalvin Cook? Since we're talking about it. Since we're talking about Dalvin Cook.
Miami? I don't know.
Okay. Wouldn't Miami, I hate to say this aloud, but wouldn't Miami be the place where running backs go to die?
I don't know.
Raheem Mostert, hello.
McCarthy, yes. Miami has no cap space.
Miami has no space, period. Miami has no damn space. But who else? Who else? Who else would be a good fit for Dalvin
Definitely
Cook?
the other team in New York, Buffalo.
Yeah, because they need a bell cow back because they haven't had one since Thurman Thomas.
Yeah, they need a running back.
They have not had a bell cow back since Thermal Thomas. Thank you, Chris Berman. They have not had a great running back. Hell, they haven't even had a good one since Thurman Thomas. You know who could?
Sean McCoy had a couple of good years up there.
I will repeat my sentence. The Buffalo Bills have not had a bell cow running back since Thurman Thomas.
But no team has really had, like, it was a different time. There's no team that can really say they've had, besides Adrian Peterson, that they've had a belt, someone who's had the career, first of all, that Thurman Thomas had.
Mm-hmm. True.
You know and for the length that he had it, because he had it for a running back, he had a pretty good tenure.
16 years.
So
I think
and
14, 15 years.
It was whatever it is. It was a long time, and so
yeah, it was plus. It's like you said earlier in the week, Wise. It was plus 10 years. Anytime you get a running back that can play plus 10 years plus, you've had a good career.
And you don't really see that in the NFL anymore.
No, you don't.
That's why when they say they've been devalued, listen, it's a much physical game. It's these athletes are in phenomenal shape. They're weapons.
They're not getting a shot in hell. They're not getting a shot in hell. Speaking of a team playing with fire, as far as the running back goes, the Indianapolis Colts are about to get scorched because they are, in 2 words,
you fool!
They're being stupid. They're about to get scorched. If they let Jonathan Taylor go, then they have set themselves back for the next 10, 12 years. Because Jonathan Taylor was, and I will emphasize the word was, their bell cow, then this happened.
Wasn't he the centerpiece to what the Colts are trying to do in rebuilding the team after Andrew Luck?
Yes. And he was the NFL's leading rusher 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Mm-hmm.
2 years ago, he was the NFL's leading rusher. Now, we talked about who would be a good fit for Dalvin Cook.
Yeah. Then, in the words of Robert Kelly, I got a question.
Oh no! Here we go with the mispronounced words again. But go for it.
What is Jim Irsay smoking?
I have a better question. What is Jim Irsay drinking?
Yeah, should be the question. Yeah.
No. Well, see, I know he drinks. I know he has a picture of drinking and being behind the wheel. But for him to just pop off at the mouth the way he has, I'm thinking it's something stronger. You know, like what Aaron Rodgers is drinking.
There is nothing stronger than that. There is nothing stronger than that.
I'm just saying.
And of course, it's Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Who the hell cares?
It does not make sense to me that you're going to go against type and then you're going to risk not just this one talent, but you're going to risk losing the rest of the whole locker room.
Oh, the locker room.
How you're treating. Yeah, by seeing how you're treating this guy who
the locker room has already been lost. The locker room has already been lost. And you're talking about
it's upsetting. Yeah.
It's quite upsetting.
It's upsetting to me to see how all this is taking place.
And it's upsetting to see that they finally get some quote-unquote stability at the quarterback position, given who they drafted, and you're not going to build around that. It's cruel. It's absolutely cruel. It's absolutely cruel. It's absolutely stupid. And the Colts have set themselves back. I'm going to go ahead and say it. They have set themselves back in a division that they have had chance after chance after chance to win, going away. And since Andrew Luck, they have blown it every single doggone year.
Oh, they're going away, all right.
Way away.
Mm-hmm.
Way away.
I just don't.
It's sad to see.
This is why I've been really feeling the movement of wanting to get Jim Irsay up out the paint. Ever since his DUI, I've been thinking
in the paint. How the hell did he get in the paint?
The son of the previous owner of the team. That's how he got in the paint. When the team was in Baltimore, his father, who actually was a more responsible owner, that's how he got there.
Would you repeat that cuss word again, please?
Yes, his father, who was the more responsible owner. That is how Mr. Jim Irsay got there.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's acting like Richie Rich, the spoiled rich brat, who even now in his golden years is still like the rich spoiled brat.
A very rich spoiled brat. And that quote by Irsay about I don't even want to read it aloud. I don't even want to read it because this franchise is sinking. No, let me try again. This franchise has sunk since Andrew Luck left after 2018.
Yeah, this franchise is going.
This franchise is sunk, and they don't have any depth at the running back position.
And I'm being 1,000% serious. I'm not clowning. Now, with the Aaron Rodgers thing, other than I think he should. I'm just clowning. With Jim Irsay, no, he needs to get out of the ownership chair because he is destroying the team.
They should get rid of him like before the whole thing goes into a Daniel Snyder situation.
It's already in a Daniel Snyder situation.
Only difference is it will be alcohol for in exchange for sexual harassment, which heck, he may go that route.
It's already a Daniel Snyder situation. They're not long from losing their last franchise quarterback because I do not trust Anthony Richardson at this point in time. Part one. Part two, you don't have any depth at the running back position. And part three, you're coming off of a season where people, myself included, picked you to win that division and you didn't even show up. Matter of fact, you can go back 2 years and look at the final 2 games of the 2021 season. You had 2 in-routes. You had 2 inroads to make the playoffs. All you had to do was beat a sucky Raider team at home or beat a sucky Jaguar team on the road. What happens? You laid 2 big-ass eggs. You laid 2 eggs. And they'll never be the same again until Jim Irsay is gone. And unfortunately, Colts fans, wife included, he ain't going anywhere. This Colts ownership under Irsay has been flat out stupid. And that is the nice word I can come up with.
It's going to get stupider.
Yes, it is.
And look, I could, Texas fan, I could actually say, well, yeah, you probably say this because you're happy that the Colts are wet in the bed. Not really. No, I'm not, because I don't want any franchise, even if it is the Titans. I really don't want a franchise that is handicapped by its ownership, because it means you're going to have the overall quality of the league get brought down. Hence why what we saw in DC. You're seeing somebody in Jim Irsay pulling the overall league down by having these drunken takes of basically saying something to the effect of, I'm paraphrasing here, well, you know, when Jonathan's gone, it doesn't matter. I mean, the league will go on. Really?
And they're saying that about a franchise player at a key position.
Really?
He's saying that about a franchise player at a key position. Franchise player.
This is the tact you're taking. This is the hill on which you're putting on your guide on and dying. Basically saying, heck, that player can go. I could get another player. I mean, heck, we all know running backs. It's expendable.
He damn near said that about the best. Wait a minute. He damn near said that about the best offensive lineman in the NFL. Of course, I'm talking about Quentin Nelson.
Oh,
but he backed up.
Go ahead, Wise.
I said, that's what he's saying. We can replace Jonathan Taylor. He's saying that's not a problem.
Yeah, because he's basically saying, well, you everybody, all of you know, the running back position is expendable after about 4 or 5 years. There's a timetable, and the one I got now, the time's up on him. Why would you say that out in public?
He's looking at it like, man, we got another 2 years out of him. Maybe if we can trade, get some compensation. We got what we
You
got
know
for
who
him.
should be on line one right now when it comes to Jonathan Taylor? There is one team and one team only that should be on the line right now when it comes to Jonathan Taylor. And I can't believe I'm going to say this aloud, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. No, hell no. Hell no.
I'll say
the Cowboys. No, I'm not saying the Cowboys. The team that should be on the line right now for Jonathan Taylor should be the Chicago Bears.
Well, the Bears definitely need anybody. Heck, they need to be on the line for any running back that had some skin in the game, and now they're entering the prime of their NFL careers. Yes, they need to be on the horn with everybody. Jonathan Taylor, Dalvin Cook, heck, Adrian Peterson is all behind.
Listen,
anybody.
We mentioned who's a good fit for Dalvin Cook, and Wise brought up the Buffalo Bills. They'd also be a good fit for Jonathan Taylor. It would give them, I should say, the Buffalo Bills, the bell cow running back they've needed for years.
But here's the issue I have with the Bears. I mean, with the Bills. I think you could have either one, Dalvin Cook or Jonathan Taylor in the backfield. I bet you still the leading rusher for the Bills would be Josh
Allen. And that is where the Bills will continue to fall.
And they need not to be that. Heck, even Josh Allen addressed this in the offseason. He says, I got to realize that I can't run the ball as much.
And the Bills have done nothing.
Service.
And it's not like he can't throw the ball.
Nothing.
It's not like he can't throw the ball.
That's the thing. Exactly. He actually can be accurate.
He needs to be more of an accurate pocket passer more than a runner. But unfortunately, that offensive line is torn to shreds, and they will not and have not, since he's been there, given him the consistent time to throw the football.
They haven't addressed that. Exactly.
They haven't addressed it, nor will they address it.
They haven't addressed that issue. They haven't addressed
as a matter of fact, I'll go as far as to say the Bills regime is too scared to address the offensive line, which is what made their hay in the 90s in that king on offense.
And what makes this and what boggles my mind when you mention Bills, what boggles my mind about this, didn't we just have a running back lose? Not lose. Didn't you have a running back go down for the season just a couple weeks ago? Naheem Hines going down for the year because he messed up his knee. So you would think that the Bills would be on the horn for anybody that's out there.
And yet the Bills and the Bears and a few other teams that we've talked about are quiet, and they're too damn stubborn. They're too damn stubborn to spend the money. It's to a point where they don't want to spend the money.
Well, hold on,
the most frightening thing I've ever.
You got to look at it. There's teams right now that have a plethora of running backs. Philadelphia, prime example. They have
he was a stack with them.
4 or 5 running backs that can make that team.
Yeah,
they're probably going to keep 3 of them.
Yeah, they'll keep 3.
Keep 3 of them.
Listen, the 2 best teams in the NFC are stacked with runners: Philadelphia and San Francisco.
I agree with you. They're
going to keep at least 3. They'll put 1 on the practice squad for just in case purposes. But as you said, Wise, Philadelphia is stacked with running backs.
Oh, I spoke to this when I was on Eagles Elite podcast the other day. That Boston Scott might not make the team.
Nope.
There's a possibility he might not make the team.
Mm-hmm.
That's a scary thought.
And if he gets available,
he was an interesting part of that deep offense last year.
Mm-hmm.
And the running back depth has gotten better to the point where he actually might be expendable.
And the biggest piece that Philadelphia added came via a trade on draft night, and that of course is DeAndre Swift.
And with him, if he's healthy, he can be that number 1 running back.
If DeAndre Swift stays healthy, dare I say he's a 1,000-yard rusher consistently.
Yes. And but not only that, my boy has hands.
Out of the backfield.
He can catch the ball.
He can catch the ball out of the backfield. Big time. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. The screwiest part is the running back position, save a few teams, is in flux all over the NFL. And I'll say it again, save a few teams, it's in flux. You could point to a team that's either due to an injury or due to the stupidity of the ownership, have not and are too chicken blank to address the key part of their position. And it goes back to a question that Cole posed 2 years ago on this show. Why are teams afraid to run the football? Matter of fact, let me open the quote, please, because I think Cole said it this way. Open it.
Quote.
Why are teams in the NFL allergic to running the football?
Close quote. That's exactly how I phrased it. Because
why are teams so allergic to running the damn football?
And what sucks is teams that do rely on running the football are considered horrible offenses. I'm not saying this. I'm not saying this team to literally throw you under the bus. Wise. That's what people were saying about the Giants even last year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, because all they had was Saquon.
All they had was Saquon Barkley. That was their only.
You gotta sugarcoat it for me. I know what my team was, but to their defense, this
10 W's though, and they improved in the offseason. 10 W's last year, and they improved in the offseason.
Yes, they've added the element that we're missing, which was that deep, because Jalen Hyatt has been looking phenomenal in camp. I'm excited for what this
biggest weapon I feel the Giants have added to really help their cause is Darren Waller.
Darren Waller easily.
That's without question.
That is the piece that's so
there's pieces there. There's
other pieces too. Yeah.
Trey Hawkins, our 6th-round pick out of Old Dominion, having a great camp. Our number 1 pick, Deontay Banks, having a great camp. So they made this. That's why this. After suffering what we suffered through with the last few regimes, with Joe Judge, Hackett, not Hackett. What the hell was his name? He was from Green Bay too. Anyway,
Oh yeah, that explains a lot.
Not LaFleur.
Not
Shermer.
Yeah.
And then
Shermer.
I don't know who it is. And then Ben McAdoo before that. We've suffered through a terrible regime.
I'm sorry y'all suffered through Ben McAdoo.
You had Jason Garrett as your offensive coordinator.
Don't kick a man while he's down, please.
Really?
Don't kick it. Well, wait a minute. Let me take.
Am I lying?
No, you're not. You're not. You're not.
Oh, Mister.
Clap, you seal. I'm sorry. Bad phrasing.
Anyway.
The funny thing is, the horrendous head coaches I mentioned, what gets his goat is the fact I mentioned Jason Garrett being a Giants, the offensive coordinator.
Offensive coordinator of the Giants. Let's address one more. Okay, I want to address something. I want to address something football-wise that I heard on another show, which I don't believe and never will believe, and that name is Kirk Cousins. According to a dear friend of mine in Darian Hopkins.
What blasphemy are you about to utter?
According to Darian Hopkins, and I do this out of love, you can't blame Kirk 2 Chainz Cousins for the failure of the Minnesota Vikings. I am paraphrasing big time. Yes, you can.
That defense is horrible, though. That defense is horrible.
The defense keep putting them in bad situations.
That defense is horrible.
And I'm so glad the Giants beat the Vikings.
Well, so am I. But
in the play. I am so glad. I'm so glad that the Giants beat the Vikings because I got sick of hearing that damn horn. Like Cole, like Victor, and many others, I got sick of hearing that damn horn. I got sick of it. And Saquon and the Giants beat him. Hell, I nearly put some cheese down on that game. I nearly put some cheese down on that game, and I should have. But I had picked the Giants to win that game anyway.
So did I.
Well, we all know why you picked him. I picked him simply because Saquon Barkley was better than that whole damn Vikings team that had a negative point differential.
Mm-hmm.
That whole damn that Vikings team had a negative point differential going into the playoffs, and yet people were picking them left and right to win that game just because they were at US Bank Stadium. Well, they went broke. And I hope they go broke this year. In the immortal words of Paul Allen, they went broke at the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and who's going to run the ball for the Vikings?
I think people are missing that ingredient because there are people who are still saying that, oh yeah, the Vikings should win because they got Justin Jefferson, they got KJ Osborne, they still have other people they can throw the ball to, and they got DJ Hawkinson as a tight end.
TJ Hack.
Yeah, and so I'm like, okay, fine. So you might be able to throw for over 4, possibly even over 5,000 yards. 2 problems. So how are you going to stem the tide of when there's going to be run situations and the Vikings aren't going to run, that they dare you to run and they blitz or they rush hard Mr. Cousins? And 2, when you do get to Mr. Cousins, who is now 35, and you give him 1 too many good whacks,
Mm-hmm.
do you think he's going to withstand all of that?
And in both games against the Giants, both of them in Minnesota, he got beat up. He got
battered.
He got beat the hell and back. He got the hell beat out of him in both games.
And the Giants defensive front is a great example. When you have a team that they don't even have to blitz all that much.
Mm-hmm.
They did good pressure up front, and they get somebody in the backfield to give them remember me shots, even if Cousins throws the ball.
Yep.
Enough of those types of shots is going to wear on a guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to feel a lot of them this year because there is no running game of which to speak there. But people are still saying because he can throw a ball, throw the pillow over the field, the Vikings still can win the NFC North. No.
And on top of that, there's no offensive line in front of Kirk 2 Chainz Cousins. Let me repeat that. There's no offensive line. And the Vikings are going to face some stellar defenses this season. And no security blanket in Dalvin Cook to lean on to run the football.
And then you have the curious case of they were 13-4 last year, but teams outscored them.
All right, live research coming.
13-4, and teams outscored them.
Yes.
Yes. And no one wants to look at that.
And
-3.
And
by
gentlemen,
3 points they got outscored.
Yeah, and gentlemen, did you hear any big-time defensive piece that the Vikings either picked up or drafted that will change your mind as to how their defense is?
Nope.
I think they regressed. I think they've regressed.
They were
the worst. What did Ryan just say? The worst 13-4 team ever.
Mm-hmm.
because they scored. Yes, they scored 424 points, but they allowed 427. They allowed 25.1 points per game.
And for
25.1 points per game.
And for a team that's supposed to be a contender for either the division or the conference, that's too many points to give up in a game.
You don't give up points. You don't give up points like that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't give up.
First of all, they were handed that Buffalo game.
Yeah, they were.
That Buffalo
couldn't
game.
hold on to the damn ball.
Well, I mean, that's all Josh Allen there. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a cough at his own end zone, and then a pick in overtime. To me, that game is all on him. And
that's the game that Minnesota should have lost.
And credit
regulation.
And credit to Allen, he took his big boy pill and said, "Yep, that was me." But yeah,
because I saw, I walked out the room. Okay, I walked out the room and I ran to the store, and I get a sudden text before I even pull out of my driveway saying Minnesota just scored. What? I didn't even make it to the store. Jody texted me. I didn't even make it to the store. I raced back in the house.
And that was only 2 minutes after the goal line stand. Mm-hmm.
I saw the goal line stand. I looked at Jody. She looked at me, and we're both saying, okay, this game's over. Buffalo's got the ball. They're on their half-inch line. They'll be able to get the ball out. And that's that. Mm-hmm. And, Jody said, okay, you can run to the store. We can get ready for the afternoon game. Yeah, got in the car, cranked up. I get to the edge of my driveway, and in capital letters, Minnesota just scored. What? I zipped back in the house. I looked at Jody. She looked at me, and we're both like, how? How the hell did that happen?
That's how it happened.
Yeah, that's exactly how it happened. That's exactly how it happened. Here's a couple of 13-4 teams. Minnesota's 13-4. They got outscored by 3. Meanwhile, Frisco went 13-4 and outscored their opponents by 173 points.
Well, that's why one team failed to get out the
You also had the defensive player of the year on your team.
Yeah, but the same. One Nicholas Bosa.
You had offense. It was more your defense, if anything, because that defense was nasty.
Oh, that defense
absolutely. That defense.
You can't compare. That's like comparing apples and oranges, because they had an offense, but that defense was horrible. Horrible
on opponents.
It was
horrible on opponents.
Let me use a word to describe
the Vikings defense was horrible.
Listen, let me use a word. Let me use a word to describe the Vikings defense that I've used often to describe offensive lines. That defensive line of the Vikings was porous. Absolutely porous.
When you basically are trying to rely,
you are putting it kindly. That
when you are relying on Patrick Peterson to give you picks, and I'm not saying he's a bad corner. I mean, he's a pretty good corner.
You may as well have with as much disdain as you said that sentence.
But still, I'm like, oh, so you're wanting takeaways. That's how that basically is going to be the crux of your defense. Well, defenses can also run on you too. So I don't know if you're going to be getting those picks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, before I forget, and base comes on. So how long? Because you fixed the Snowman in the morning one, and so Cole doesn't have to scream through that anymore, right? How long before you fix the Brian Snow shows, and now we have Cole screaming through that? I was going to bring that up early, like after it happened, but we had Shady on. But yeah, when how long before y'all fix that? This is just the EP in me. This is just the EP. This is Cole's fault.
It's the EP.
This is Cole's fault. This is Cole's fault, because this is.
No, I'll take the L on that one. I'll take the L on that one because
you fixed the Snowman in the morning one.
No, I didn't.
Who
Not to
fixed
the
that
way I
one?
not to the way I
No,
want.
but at least it has the right time now.
It has the right time.
It has the right time.
Yeah, but there's still much more I can do.
It don't matter. It has the right time. And I don't have to hear Cole 10 a.m. And now
Well, you know what happened. You know
Snowman-
what happened. I just caught what you're talking about. You know what happened? I did fix the afternoon promo. It's loaded, but some of those that we have up now
okay, you
are
just gotta delete
still being
You gotta
run.
delete
But
them.
the afternoon promo is done. The afternoon promo is fixed and it is loaded.
Is it okay? I just want to make
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. I just caught.
It was something I wanted to bring up earlier, but I completely got distracted.
Yeah.
How dare you say that I have to catch that?
Technically, you're supposed to.
In the words of a
because you kind of had to.
I know.
Okay,
In the words of a man I love so dear,
yeah.
Okay. Okay, kids, quit fighting. We got another big kid on the
not
way.
fighting. You're not
I know you're not fighting. Quit it.
I'm not even close to fighting.
No. No. Y'all want to see a fight? Put it. Okay.
Mhm.
I won't even say it. I won't even
All
say
right.
it.
All right.
There are 200 ways I can. There are 200 ways I can describe a fight,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't say any of them. I won't say any of them here.
Oh boy.
And now, the transporter to Hades, the reformer of hooker whores, and the bronze god, the one, the only, the legendary Chris Bay.
Here he is.
My man, Base.
For another fabulous Friday. Good morning, Base. Glad to have you.
Good morning. Good morning, of course, to Rain Man. Good morning to the Mad Scientist. Good morning to Wise All, and to all the boys and girls in the comment section. And a Friday boom shakalaka to all.
I love that ending right there.
Well, first and foremost, and you know, I do get serious, and I do get serious sometimes. I'm gonna do it right now. I owe this show an apology, and this is the reason why. I've been on this program, and I said on many occasions that, for example, the movie Fences with Denzel Washington and Viola Davis was produced by Braun Studios, owned by LeBron James. It is not owned by LeBron James. I made an error in my reporting. Come to find out that it's owned by a Canadian motion picture company based out of British Columbia. So that's where Braun came from. I got the stories mixed up because when I was reading about Braun, being LeBron James going to LA, him and Maverick Carter had talked about movie interest and producing movies. So when I read about that article, an article similar, when he got to the Lakers, okay, he finally got the deal to produce movies. But I made an error. I apologize. And it was not, again, he does not own Braun Studios. It's owned by a Canadian motion picture company based out of British Columbia. I hold myself accountable because, like I said before, about people coming to my show with misinformation, I do the same for myself. So I apologize for misinformation.
Man, apology accepted, but under protest because we've all made that mistake. Lord knows I've made that mistake quite a few hundred hours.
And Base, it's you, man. You like,
yeah.
You allow a mishap once in a while. It happens. It happens to the greatest.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You're one of the greatest to do it, bro.
Yeah.
Please.
Oh, look, I appreciate that. But, you know, as broadcasters and podcasters here on this panel, sometimes, and even though I'm better now, you could be your worst critic. You're gonna be your own worst critic because you try to be not perfect but consistent as possible, giving information. So the last thing I want to be is a hypocrite. I try not to, even though everybody is human, obviously. I'm very solid about information. That's what we do. And sometimes, well, depending on the person who's having eyeballs on us and listening, sometimes commentary and fact become blurred. And that has to be a separate thing. You're commenting on a story that gives you, of course, the commentary platform. So I think sometimes our responsibilities are not put to the fire from time to time. So I'm just old school like that. So if I make a mistake in information or error, I'll be the first one to admit it. So this is what I do.
And that's listen. Me and Cool McCain were actually talking about you the other day, and we talked about why we tune into your show because we want to learn from one of the best. We want to be able to, you know what I'm saying, be able to not do it how you do it, but at least look at someone who's mastered their craft and still growing. Because you still like right now, being that you got a stat wrong and everything. But we talk about how we tune into your show and how you just control the show and the audience and the fact that you have people call into your show. We're like, man, Bass is the man. He has people, his fans call in. He has loyal listeners that's calling, and he just has great topics and a show that we look to for information. Basically, we look to your show compared to going to have to look at regular news or whatever it is to seek information that might be important to the world.
Well, that hits me at the heart, and I thank you tremendously for the kind words. It means so much to me because, as you know, once again, as podcasters and broadcasters, we create. Now, I don't know how you guys do it, but when you sit down, I sit down with a legal pad in front of me and jot out ideas that come to my head about how to create a show. So the show I do traditionally called Baseline. So Baseline was created years ago. In fact, Brian was there when I was making it happen. We used to work back at psiradio.com. And so I put these ideas to legal pad, and I hear the show in my head before I broadcast. So everything that I eventually tried to do over the years, go back to the lab. This worked. This didn't work. Add this, subtract that. So it's a growing process. And then when you, once again, like I call Cole the mad scientist, we're all like our own mad scientists to a degree when you think about it. We all got the lab coats. We're all, it's alive type of thing. We all do that type of thing because we know what's going to work or what doesn't work. And the only way you're going to know is to go out and do it and see if it reacts to people and people like it or not. And so, for example, I got the phone line stalled. Well, going on a year now, people didn't want to call in. And I'll be the first one to be, it pissed me off. My callers didn't want to call in. Because here's the thing about talk radio as a lesson. And it's different now because of social media, but back when you had brick and mortar, just talk radio.
Yeah.
90% people listen to talk radio, 10% call in. And that was always the ratio. So what you want to do eventually is try to move the ratio from 10% to 11 to 12 until they get a little more higher. That's really been the status quo. 90% listen, 10% call in. And so with just my luck, I get to 10% or lower. Not only that, because we're in social media now, people like to respond and type and comment and not call in. So I was fighting an uphill battle. So just the fact you said people are calling in, it makes the 1/4 of my Native American heart soar again, because that makes me feel good, because that was the intention to broaden the show, not only to have comments in the comment section, but people to call in. So now it's starting to catch steam. But at one point, it didn't look good at all, doctor. I'm like, nobody would call in. And at one point, some person that listened to my show was in the comments says, well, why'd you call in? I don't like the sound of my voice. We talk about grown people. Grown people.
I've called in a couple of times.
Right.
I've called in a couple of times.
You called in right, because you know your voice. I'm talking about grown people in their 60s saying that I don't like the way I sound. And that kind of threw me for a loop a little bit, because you're 60. And you don't like the way you sound, but everybody got their own idiosyncrasies, and that's how they operate. But I appreciate you calling in and other people calling in. Brian will call in sometimes and things of that nature. I know Cole will check in the comment section. So that makes me feel good, because, again, it's always nice to know that what you're doing is working. And after years of being told you're not going to be good and this doesn't work or it sucks and stuff like that, and to finally have a plateau where it's embraceable. So again, I thank you so much for the comment. We have no idea how much it means to me. It is tremendous.
Listen, being that I haven't been in the business as long as you have, I've only been doing it for almost 4 years. It's improved. It's helped me improve as a podcaster. It's helped me improve as an interviewer, to watch a professional like yourself and see, like, all right, there's little subtle things that you do that are base. Those are just base. Those are just you. Those are mannerisms that you have. So, but I look at just your overall professionalism and just your overall, like, you are just you. There's no fakeness about you. When you come on your show and you do your show, you're base. Like, you don't care what people think about you. You just come on and do you, perform your magic. And so when I see that just relaxes me and shows me, like, hey, just come on, just do your show, be you, come on. And I learn from Snow and I learn from Cole. You're the guys who inspired me to do my show live now. Seeing you guys do this, because just tuning in and seeing you guys do it, and the way you interact with your audience and you connect with them, and you're always responding, you're always putting up comments, you're doing all these things. So seeing that helped me build my confidence for me to go live with my show, and the things I've learned from you guys has made my show a better show. It's helped me develop my show and develop my style, having inspiration like you and Snowman, and being able to find my niche and find my podcasting or my presentation. And I appreciate you, brothers. I really do.
We appreciate you, and it's been a pleasure to watch you grow and find your niche. And I want to pose a question to you, Wise. What drove you? If there's a thing or two or three things that drove you to, like, really find the niche where you're at right now, can you highlight something that, like, turned the light on for you with the direction where you wanted to go with the Stuck in My Mind?
Oh man, it was just, there was a lot of things, man. It was just people actually responding, people sending comment. Like, when I first started, it was a few people that I knew growing up that had started watching the show, and they were like, yo, you're pretty good. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no clue. But they're like, no, I keep doing it, keep going. And they pushed me to keep doing it. And when I did an interview with a friend of mine, and we just talked about where we come from, because we were high school friends. We both from Brooklyn, and he's a successful real estate agent and realtor. He's not an agent, he's a realtor. And we talked about mindset and all this, and to have another friend of ours who went to school with us reach out and say, listen to what you guys talked about, inspired me to take that leap and start my own business and do. So to have those type of comments kind of show me, like, yo, you're making an impact on people's lives, and to be able to do that is, to me, much more valuable than building, like, than really becoming a famous or a celebrity or doing this for clout or whatever it is. I do it because I love to help people. I do my show because I want people to gain knowledge and improve on their lives, because there's nothing, like, why would I want to create content that's gonna inspire hate or whatever it is? I rather inspire growth, development, and want to teach everybody who knows me. I share any knowledge I gain.
That you do.
Any new tools I gain to improve as a podcaster, anybody can tell you, yo, this is a new tool I'm using. Check it out. If you decide not to use it, that's on you. at least I am sharing this with you and help because someone shared it with me, or if I found whatever it is. But I get that from watching you guys because Base is always, whenever I had a question for Base, he's like, all right, yeah, this is what you do, whatever, or Cole, whatever. So I learned from you guys because you guys are open books. You guys like, hey, if you got a question or if you need some help with something, ask me.
Yeah,
not a problem.
And that's how I've always been in my journey, to the point where since we're now beyond COVID and I'm back here in the Midwest and another pending move coming soon, I'm going to act on an idea and open a virtual play-by-play academy. And I have to say that piece of inspiration came from my wife, because I'm always talking to kids that ask me, how'd you get started? And I love sharing my story of how I did get started. And in the past 2 years, I've had so many people reach out to me wanting to know how I got started. And they said, they would always say, that's inspiration that you took an unconventional route. And I said, you know what? Let me just go further than sharing my story. Let me put it into practice and help the men and women who want to take an unconventional route into doing play-by-play, into doing simulcasting, because it's something I've grown up with for many, many years. I've shared here, the first Bulls game I listened to was on WIND in Chicago. And that is when I first heard the voice of the late, great Jim Durham. And when he teamed with Johnny Kerr a year later, and then the simulcast was happening with the sports, at the time, Sports Vision, and later became Sports Channel. I don't know. It was just then, it just rang a bell in my head. And I've always operated that way. And now I just want to share that part of me with any and everyone, and just help those who want to get into this business, not only just get in using my platform, but helping them build their own platform as well.
Well, again, I gotta thank Wise for again the kind words and saying that looking at people like people on the panel here as inspiration. And I'll be the first to admit, if you would have said to me probably about 5 years ago, we met 5 years ago, Base, you inspire me, the first reaction I would have told you then was to put the razor blade down, stop doing lines. The cocaine is one hell of a drug. Vision, dreams of passion. I would have sang the song so that way you can stop doing cocaine, because I can't sing. Yeah, because again, it's one of those things where I had to learn from, as Raymond just mentioned about listening to people like Jim Durham. And when you listen to someone that is doing it, and they're doing it in 3D, and their lights out fantastic, I just want to be in their presence. When I was younger, I wanted to get there. I knew it would take time to get there. I just want to be in their presence. What made them great? What made them unique? What made them so fantastic what they did? And what we all have in common is the fact that who's out there that's you? Nobody. It's you. Right. So you capitalize on who you are. You embrace who you are. And what we do is a love for the game, literally, because it's not work. It literally is not work. And it's who you are and what you are. And when you're able to comport that through communication and podcasting and broadcasting, it comes off that way. That's the one thing I learned coming up in the industry. I've known people who, and it works for them, they create a persona on the air that works because it gets the listenership, it gets the callers coming in and going back to terrestrial radio. And I understood that. But other people I worked with, that's who they were on off mic
all the time.
And those people gravitated towards the most because they were comfortable in their skin.
Right.
And when I was 19, I knew I wanted to talk radio. I wasn't comfortable yet. I need to get comfortable in time. So to be around people and mentors and that environment and you soak it all up and you find out where you are and your place and your voice. It's a journey, and the journey continues as we do now. But in the earlier days when we were coming up, I stress mentors when I can, because mentors, if they're interested in taking you on, not all people want to take you under, and from the standpoint of putting an arm around you, because they don't have to. But if you find someone, if you're blessed, I mean it sincerely, if you're blessed to find a mentor or mentors plural, and they put an arm around you and show you the way and guide you, is only going to make you better. Only.
One of my mentors was my first ever my first ever supervisor in radio when I was at Chicago State, and that's John Kalidas. He gave me my first ever opportunity. I can't thank him enough for just coming up to me and saying, "You want to take a chance with our school radio station and be our sports director?" And I said, "Certainly. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but certainly." And he says, "You know sports. I can help you. I can help guide you in how to put the programming together." And then he coupled it with radio coverage of Chicago State basketball, and then later baseball and volleyball in 2001. And I didn't know at that time how much of a monster had been unleashed, but it did. After the first game I did, December 7th, 1995, with an idea, all off of an idea, because my friend had checked out a camera from the speech and theater department, and I asked him, "Can you attach a microphone to that?" And he said, "Sure." And he said, "What do you have in mind?" And I didn't even have a headset that night. I just had a microphone and an idea, and off to the races we went.
So I have a request real quick. I was looking in the comment section. My man, Diggy, S. Diggy, could you put it up at the bottom when he says, "Did at Chris Base have that dream?" You did? Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, can you put that back up? I want to show everybody about the dream.
I'm sorry.
That I had the dream with Dionne Warwick and Mario again. First of all, thank you for remembering the dream I had. And that was the dream. I told you I was watching gangster movies all day. I was on a gangster movie fest. I was watching Scarface and all types of stuff. Man.
You were on a gangster movie kick.
Man, I was on a roll, Superfly, and I was gone, man. And so in the dream, as I reiterate for those of you who may not know, in the dream, I fell asleep. In the dream, I was in Miami. I had this, great penthouse, palm trees, nightlife, and everything else. I was living the life, man. And I invited Dionne Warwick and Mario, who were in town performing, to come by and do cocaine with me. Now, mind you, I never did cocaine in my life. But in this alter ego dream, I was the man. So I just, how much cocaine I had? I'm not promoting drug use. Man, it was up to here. Now, I'm at a table at this juncture for broadcasting. It was up to my head. A mountain of cocaine, mind you. I went to go get something to eat. Man, all 4 nostrils. Everything. Didn't leave me nothing. Horrible guess.
Really.
Which spawned one of the greatest lines on this show. All of it between 2 people and 4 nostrils. All of it was gone.
All.
Between 2.
Now that's the damnedest of shame. Now, yes, I know it's wrong, but that was the dream I had. All this gangster stuff I was watching. Didn't leave me not
and 4 nostrils.
We talking about Hoover, and Dyson. Man,
had Mario and Dionne Warwick the same again.
Look at their nostrils, Doc. I ain't lying.
That's the problem. I tried to steer clear of them noses.
Man, look,
wow.
You can steer clear of it. Just take a look. You can go online, as we all can do, and pull up a picture of the both and put them side by side. Do you understand that
story the first time I did?
Do you understand that you walk into a room with them, they can smell your feet? That's how strong their noses are. You got your socks and shoes on and everything else. That's how strong their nostrils are. They can smell your feet.
Dead.
Yeah.
Like, how you smell my feet, man? I got all sorts of it. We can smell them.
Dead. Just dead. The incomparable Chris Bass, as he joins us each and every Friday. We're inside the Boom Shakalaka, and if you're not laughing, you ain't got a pulse. Thank you, Bass. We love you, brother, so much. Oh God, that
love you more.
Movie kick. Man, we love you, Bass. Thank you.
Love you more. Thanks again. You take care. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody.
See you later today, Bass.
See you later, Bass.
Keep your socks in.
And now, the transporter to Hades, the reformer of hooker whores, and the bronze god, the one, the only, the legendary Chris Bay.
We got to scram. Have a great weekend. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you,
then they're simply not, well, they're like this.
The following is a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe,
Boston.
This has been a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
See you Monday. We're out of here.
Have a good weekend, everybody. And bronze sexuals, you all forever will take the... Oh, we ain't finished. You all are just that pathetic. One more time.